My name is Chris Claremont. You're watching Omni X-Men.
Yes, that is right. You are watching Omni X-Men. We're kicking it off here tonight, Tuesday night. Welcome back, everybody, to the channel. My name is Justin, aka No Good Comics. We got the Omnibus Volume 4 from Chris Claremont and the rest of the crew. As we've been breaking this down, we are going over X-Men Annual 8. That's right. We've gotten into another annual here, and I think in the past, or at least I have really enjoyed a lot of the king size and annuals that we've kind of gone through. So it'd be interesting to talk to the group tonight a little bit about where we go in this direction for Annual 8, but I am curious. So if you're here live right now with us, appreciate you watching. If you're watching the replay, thanks for taking the time to do so. Of course, it's not just me here. It's my good friend and co-host, my man, John from John's Comics for Kids. Oh,
I'm preparing for the show tonight because I'm telling you right now. Spoiler: this is gonna be a rough one, folks. This is gonna be rough. I'm grateful that all of you in the chat and our guest here is joining us for this, but heavy pour. Just give yourself a heavy pour tonight, folks. You're gonna need it.
100%. I actually did pour a glass, and then I was like, you know what? Let me top it off a little more,
a little extra, little extra. Do it. Tonight's the night. You've earned it. You read the book. You earned it.
Other than all that,
they can't all be gold. They can't all be gold. This is an unacceptable, unfair standard to be holding I don't even remember Lahui. I think Lahui. I don't remember the artist's name. I'm sorry. I've already forgotten it. Unfair bar to hold anybody to. But at the same time, that means it's facts of life. You got to read them all. You gotta read the roughest yet, says Candace. Oh my God.
I wanted to pull up the name. I always said it Lealoa.
Sure, I'll take that.
We're going to talk about it because I do have feelings about Lealoa. I mean, that are more positive than what we might talk about here tonight.
Okay,
we'll get into that as we do.
Okay.
Before we go any further, I want to remind everybody to stick around after the show, meaning after we break this issue down, because John and I have some Q&A, some quiz questions based on last issue and last episode. So if you missed it, that was over on John's channel. So we'll have questions ready to go. If you get an answer correct, you can get your name on the board, a prize wheel that we'll be doing at the very end of the season coming up here, June 11th-ish, right? Is the end of the season.
There's only 4 episodes left where you can get entries on the wheel. So you guys are running out of time to either, get a good lead or get on the wheel for the first time. So this is an important opportunity to make our guests laugh.
And for those who might be wondering what's so special about getting on the wheel, getting your name on there, of course, we are doing a ton of giveaways, including a commissioned piece from Thony, Silas, an artist that, John, you had met earlier this year, or not met in person, but have gotten commissions from earlier this year for the first time. You've been in contact with him. He's a really great guy from what I've heard, and I love his artwork from what I've seen. So we were going to be giving away a commissioned piece, at the end of the season here. So that's the main
we bought it. We paid for shipping. If you want to expand on it, if you want to add more to what it's like one character, you get a character and a background, or a character and another character. You get one basic thing. You want to go beyond it. You want to add a whole bunch of stuff to it. You can add a little bit more, pay a little bit extra, but we've paid for the commission. We've paid for the shipping. You decide what it's going to be.
Yep. So stick around for that, and of course, we'll be doing a bunch of other giveaways. We have some other friends of the show that are going to be doing some giveaways too. I think Chet is giving away all his Stan Lee slabs or something.
Yeah, only the 9 6s and above, but everything else he's going to hold on to. Yeah, everything else he said he's holding on to.
What a guy! What a guy!
Bobby's donating something.
Oh, that's right. He did mention he had something as well. So
that's fact.
We appreciate it. Well, let's get going. We have a really great guest tonight. Somebody who has we were on his channel not too long ago, and since then he's invited us plenty of times. And just a great guy in the community, diehard X-Men fan, very much like we are. Always a pleasure talking with him. It's our good friend Ryan, aka Colossus Collector. What is up, dude? He's got it ready to go, man.
Just drink the bottle. Just the whole bottle.
You just chugging the
whole
bottle.
thing. Right. I agree.
What's up, Ryan, man?
Thanks for having me on, guys.
Yeah,
I had a blast. I was just on Ryan's channel last week. We were going over X-Men 97 with a great panel discussion. So if you missed it, I highly recommend. It's in my community tab. You can just find it in there, or you can go over to Colossus Collector here on YouTube and find it. Great show. A lot of fun.
Yeah, nice. We had a great combo. That was awesome.
Yeah, Ryan, I love all the stuff that you do for your channel. Just being part of this community in general, and all the chats and stuff that we have going on. For those who do not follow Ryan, make sure you do so. I put his information in the description below. Make sure you go sub up his channel and check out his content. Yeah, we're excited to have you on tonight. And of course, as our guests go, we have them go through the ringer here. So John's got set up. Of course, as a reminder,
I love this stuff.
Phone,
Bring it on.
yeah. So John, if you want to kick it off, let's see. Oh, wait. What am I doing? I
say hi to the chat.
Get to say hello to
Let's
the
go
chat.
to say hello to the friends.
My man Cliff has been hanging out here, man.
I'm working on it, Cliff.
Revolution.
I'm getting my dad bod ready for summer, just for folks like you, my man.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I don't have a kid, but I definitely have a dad bod. So there you go.
I do have a great No Good Comics
Adam,
tank top though, and I'm going to be sporting. So be ready.
Hey, all right. What's up, Adam? Make stuff up. Good to see you. Jackson Roy Kirk, what is going on, my friend? For those who are wondering, the over-under tonight for me freezing is still 2.5. Only
Solid.
counts as live. It's happened once already, but not live. Candace, what is up, Candace? That's right. He says, Rooker says, I used to remember Annual from the 70s being essential to the title. In the 80s, that went out the window. Yeah.
And in the 90s, who knows at this point? Like, who knows?
Seems like the effort, was not
90s and
there.
Beyond. It's like,
Station, my man, Bobby. How's
Cheers,
it going,
Bobby.
brother? And yes, there he is, donating a piece as well. We really appreciate that, sir. We got my man Conlin Comics in the chat. Happy Tuesday to you as well. Let's see. Yeah, see, he's looking forward to Chet's slab burn books as a lot of them are.
He's a real giving guy.
That's what I'm saying.
Chet just gives it all away.
Let's see. We got Kenneth Bird in the chat. Hello, Kenneth. Hope everything is well. We got my dad hanging out in the chat. What is up, Dad?
We've got
Hello,
comic
hello.
book royalty in the chat, sir. It is wonderful to have you here.
Looking forward to meeting you at Terrificon, Mr. LaRoche.
That's right. Yeah, he'll be there. He'll have a table set up. Dad, if you're still here, I'm curious if you knew Steve Lealoa, because he was this is 80s, mid to late. Oh no, 84. This is 84. But I think he had gone up to the 90s or so. But I'm curious if you followed him or we don't mean to badmouth me. I'm gonna support him.
How hard we're gonna be on poor Steve.
But yeah. But I'm curious if he had any connection.
I might have to hold back now.
Let's see. There he said my first visit, never met Steve. Oh, he saw my first visit is going to be at the show. Never met Steve, but he knows his work. Okay, cool. Well, yeah, we'll definitely talk a little bit more about that here soon. There's JP. What's up, JP? Everyone ready? Hey, JP, listen. Last time you weren't here, JP. Last time I was streaming, we were done at like the hour mark, and all we had left were questions.
We ran a real, you did really well last time.
It was a tight ship.
Yeah.
But
be ready though for next week when we're doing 2 oversized issues in one night with Bearded Comic Bro. Poor guy.
Oh yeah. Greg's gonna delay it alone. It's just me. All right. So all right, we covered up on the chat. Appreciate everybody hanging. Now let's get back to some questions, John. For our different
firstly, Ryan, I know way too many awesome Ryans in this community, so I'm just glad to add one more to the list. You're an awesome.
So many of us.
It's so great. I love it. I see the arcade game behind you. So my question is, what is the best arcade game you've ever played?
That one right there.
Is that
X-Men Konami, the 6-player 90s arcade game? Yeah,
love it.
That's my favorite. And then I also like Street Fighter 2. All the
Street Fighter isn't that the Capcom versus Marvel Street Fighter versus X-Men? You can get both.
I would love to get that, but I'm
That's
more of like an
version.
OG Street Fighter 2 player.
Nice. Love it.
Nice.
All right. We know who your favorite character is. Who is the second best male X-Men character?
My favorite is Wolverine because he's a good old Canadian boy like myself.
Canuck. You can't argue with that.
Yeah.
Okay. Trickier question. Obviously, we know the wedding did not go well. Do you think Kitty and Peter belong together?
Not really.
I feel the same way. Yeah.
I
think they made the right choice for the wedding, but it was very sad.
Easy. It's like the longest running relationship,
right?
But I don't. It's not like Cyclops and Jean or Gambit and Rogue. I feel like it's a little less of a bond there.
Yeah. All right, you finished X-Men 97. Which voice actor was crushing it the most for you? Who was the best voice actor in the series?
I got to give it to Storm. She's just so good still. Like, it's the exact same.
It didn't sound any different to me.
I'd give kudos also to the voice of Magneto was very, very good.
He had to take
Although
over.
I love the original. I loved the original as well. So
that's
it
big
was,
shoes to
good
fill.
Though.
Yeah,
big ones.
The wedding between Kitty and Caliban did not go well either.
It didn't. No, it didn't.
No. She's had two rough times at the altar. Who is the bigger jerk, Xavier or Cyclops?
Two big jerks. To me, I think Cyclops is a bigger jerk. Like, I look at him like more of a jerk, but in terms of like jerk things they've done, I got to give it to Professor Xavier. Deadly Genesis is rough.
One of the episodes of X-Men 97 had video game overtones. Which mutant would be the best gamer, the best video game player?
Oh, that's a real tough one. I don't know. I someone young, like a Jubilee.
Right.
You know, just someone that's their whole world, you know, is gaming. I'll throw Jubilee in, but
I was thinking like Quicksilver. He's gonna be super fast reflexes.
Okay, I take back Quicksilver. That's way better.
He's gonna destroy a lot of remotes, though. I feel like
that is true, but yeah, I'll go with Juliet or Jubilee, but Quicksilver is also a really good idea.
All right, let's see. Oh gosh, I had a really good one. I just had
a really good one too.
We loved X-Men 97, the animated series. A lot of people saying it's their favorite animated show. What would be the other top animated series for you? Comic book animated show.
Does the original series count?
Absolutely, yeah.
That would be my I mean, the original series was my favorite. It's probably I haven't really analyzed it yet, but it's still like nostalgia-wise my favorite animated series ever. But man, X-Men 97 was like a whole nother level of writing.
Right.
So yeah, but yeah, those two.
All right. Which mutant would you draft first on your baseball team?
Colossus.
Good question.
I knew you would say it. I mean, you know he's going to crush it, right?
My name's Peter, and I like to hit dingers, you know.
I love it. Who is stronger, Colossus or Rogue?
Colossus.
Oh, didn't even hesitate. He's like, don't even play.
No time, yeah.
All right, I got two more, and then I'll let you ask yours of Justin. We'll see what Justin has to say. Let's see. Is Forge a better match for Storm, or is it T'Challa?
I think Forge is a better match because T'Challa has too much on his plate to be a truly dedicated life partner.
Avenger, he's running the country.
Forge has less responsibilities, and they're in the same world, right? Like Storm or T'Challa got to leave their perspective, you know, Avengers versus, you know, X-Men or like living in Africa, living in the US. Sure. Whereas Forge and Storm, they're in the X world. They're both mutants. I think they're a better match.
Fair. Yeah, absolutely fair. Which mutant do you think would have the best comic book collection?
Kid Omega.
Oh, good answer.
Yeah.
He does seem like the sort who would want that to like calm his mind a little, maybe.
He's
Chet is in the chat.
I think he's got some nerd in him. So
oh yeah. He was the originator of the Magneto was right t-shirt too in the comics. He wore the Magneto was right t-shirt back in the new X-Men era. All right, you said you had a question.
Oh,
do you still?
Is that me?
Am I freezing?
Oh, it's John.
Did I freeze up? Sorry.
Oh, it's not
That
me.
might have been
Whoa.
me.
You're back. You're back. We got you.
What is happening? Oh no. Thank goodness. Is this what it feels like? Being on the other side now. Man, he might have
Just
to pop
asking,
out back in.
do you want to ask your question of John Lord? Too many kids studying for finals around here.
I think he's Ryan. I think he's
hear me?
asking, do you want to ask your question to us? Or did you have a question?
Yes. Yes.
I had a question.
Yeah, no. So okay.
Oh, I thought you said
John,
you did.
I
I'm
think,
sorry.
no, I think he just thought of a good answer or a good
Yeah.
idea.
I was gonna say
thinking,
Forge would have been a really good gamer.
That's
was
what
my that was my
Got it.
idea.
Okay.
You know, just given his
But here's a great question for the whole panel here. JP, the real question is Professor X actually the X-Men's biggest villain? Could be. John's putting in a lot of thought.
I'm not as up to speed with what's going on currently with Krakoa, but from what I've kind of gathered, he's been once again not doing good things. So
I just took this as because of how big of a jerk he is. That's how I took this.
But he's come up as a villain before, for sure.
Yeah. John, you with us? He's looking fuzzy.
Am I? Do you hear me? Can you hear me? Am I here now?
We can hear you now. Yeah. Oh, and then
but then he freezes.
Oh, no.
Like the hand motion helps us detect.
I'm just dealing with girls on the internet. Yeah, it's not gonna be good. I'm gonna be the problem tonight. Just be ready. Buckle up.
I guess so, in more ways than one, it seems. Well, all right. Did you have any other questions, John? All right.
All right.
You think? Damn it.
Restart your router.
Yeah,
take over, man. Take over. I got nothing. I'm questions are done.
Contagious.
You run it.
All right. All right. Well, let's get this going here. Hopefully, John, you can chime in while you're here. See,
who knows?
Yeah,
who knows?
It's not my fault. It's not my fault. All right, let's
it's bad. It's contagious.
All right, let's get this up here. Of course, we are talking about Annual 8, as we just mentioned. Very interesting cover. I'm curious to hear your guys' thoughts overall. John, I will pass it to you first. What were your initial thoughts on this cover?
I'm upset that it's not Dazzler. That's not Dazzler?
Mm.
Dang it.
Nope. Nope.
God bless it. I'm sitting here. Can you? I feel like I'm here. Am I not here?
We can hear you. We can hear you.
Got you.
Okay. It looks like Dazzler to me. I was hoping that it was Dazzler. It's Emma Frost, but we'll deal with it. I actually don't hate the cover, but the art style is odd, and it definitely feels like a strange book just from the cover. Like I can tell I'm not going to get a typical X-Men comic out of this.
Right. No, I think that's fair. Ryan, what about you? What are your thoughts here when you see this cover?
I see Run for the Hills. I'm never gonna buy this off the rack. Those are the thoughts running through my mind when I see this. Sort of like, oh, that's nice. They got the daughter to draw the cover this month or this year, or son. Yeah, sorry, it's harsh, but it's not good.
I hear you. And I think the big thing with this is because, my first glance and even just seeing this without really reading through or knowing anything about it, my first glance is very much like, what the heck, did they go to like a downgrade, artist here, or what kind of happened? And I know we'll talk more throughout. But the one thing I'll say is, I feel like a lot of this was on purpose.
Yes,
and I could be wrong, but I feel like a lot of it was on purpose, based on the fact that it's a fairy tale, based on the fact that it's about a child telling a story about another kid, and a fairy tale, type of story. So to fit the theme of that and the mentality of, oh, this is the vision that Ileana has, I feel like the artist was like going for that, was kind of doing what you just said, Ryan. Like, oh, did they get like a daughter to like draw this? Like that I think it might have been what the artist was actually going for, in hopes that, I hope my readers think that, like, it's weird. I mean, it definitely, and again, if you're out of context to it, and especially coming off of some of the stuff we've been with JRJR and like some of the other great, artists, it is definitely jarring in that regard.
Right.
So, I hear you, for sure. But that's kind of my initial thoughts on it, and trying to be open about it, just knowing that might have very well been, part of it there. The other, go ahead.
I would say, that's an interesting theory. The only, and we'll get in. I won't say why I don't think that's the case now. I think when we get into the coming first couple pages,
fair,
I'll touch on it. But yeah, it's
no, that's fair too. Well, and let's get into that. And yeah, so
the choice.
So my dad he said, I think Steve's wanted the work to look like it was drawn by a child, maybe Kitty. He said, I don't know the story. And that's fair. And he did say Steve did some amazing work. So that's the one thing that I have kind of combat, what we're about to get into here, is I know Steve's work based on a lot of the stuff he did with Spider-Woman. And I had read about like 8 or 9 of those issues and was really enjoying it, story and art together. And Candace, you're in the chat. Like you remember some of the Spider-Woman that we were when we were doing like a buddy read for that, like, that is totally different than a lot of the stuff what we see here. So for anyone who has ever had a chance to read Spider-Woman, like the original volume 1 of Spider-Woman, that he did a majority of the interiors for at least from what I read, the first 8, 9 issues. And I think he goes on. So I know that he's done some pretty great work as well. So that's what also throws me off, is thinking, I know he does better stuff than this.
I want to say he did stuff earlier than this too, like that I remember, from earlier in the 80s and 70s maybe.
So that, then there you go. So because I forget when he was doing Spider-Woman, what time period that was, that I would call it good. But if it was Spider-Man, if it was it actually, now I think about it, I guess it probably was 70s, late 70s into the 80s that he was starting off for that. So I think at this point he's considered, maybe not a vet, but
he was probably part of the Marvel stable at that point,
Yeah. Bobby says it does make you miss JRJR. There, that's fair. Let's see. Roy Kirk says, I've been hard on JRJR this season, but I actually want him back. Okay, yeah. And I think, like we were saying, right? Like, I don't think you're alone here. That's for sure. And I to degrees feel very similar. But let's get into.
But I will say, like,
Tony,
given what your dad's saying, I totally go to what he would think over what my theory would ever be. So if he says that he's going for a childlike look, I buy that. I totally buy it.
Fair. Yes, Candace, that is the same guy. At least for the interiors. I don't know which covers he did, because I know Infantino was still doing some of those covers for Spider-Woman at that time. But so all right, let's get into the pages here, because we definitely have a lot to talk about. And this is a bit of a page, or a lot of pages involved as a whole. But we start out with some storytelling going around a fire with our good friend Wolverine here, rocking the cowboy hat. Some really cool faded backgrounds, kind of with the fire flames tied into storytelling, which I thought was pretty neat. And he's basically telling a story about an ancient samurai, and some of the story kind of tying into what sounds like, referring to what happened with him and Kitty Pryde in Japan not too long ago in the miniseries with Al Milgrom that we had broken down. And there are little hints of that they even talk about after the fire. Of course, it's the New Mutants, it's all the X-Men that are there. They're all just enjoying, around the fire, campfire, talks. Of course, there's an awkward moment where Storm comes in and breaks up some firewood, some sticks, and kind of scares some of the kids. They think it might be a creature or an animal, not sure what. But I like that there was a couple panels kind of taken there. Also interesting that Storm is actually here right now. We were kind of talking about wondering when this was taking place, since last issue in the regular main series was, she was already on the boat leaving to go back home. So
having visions of things already.
Yeah, exactly. And then of course we get Professor X down in the corner, just being concerned about the idea that Aurora being tough on herself and struggling with these new changes of not having her abilities anymore, and the fact that he can't do much to help her, nor does she want his help, in any regards to his abilities or things like that. So as a leader, Professor X, that is kind of tearing him apart as well. And then, and so just to see these opening panels and everything else, I want to get your guys' thoughts here. So Ryan, I'm going to send it to you first. I know you mentioned a little bit about, as we get through some of these pages, artwork. What were your thoughts here on the initial splash page, followed by what looks like kind of a cool, like a spread page, but then, a bunch of other images underneath it. What did you think of that? And just the overall setting of where the X-Men are right now?
I thought it was a little odd that the way and Jackson Royker kind of mentioned in his comment, Wolvie speaking like Claremont. It didn't feel like this would be something Wolverine would do, or like tell a story about that. So I thought that was kind of a interesting take on Wolverine there.
Yeah.
Getting animated and being so kind of like playful. It just doesn't feel like him, but yeah, it's a good start and setup to the story. I was thinking also, like when we were just talking about whether it was intentional, the art style or not. Now that I see this, this is a little bit more detailed in terms of style, these panels, as opposed to when we get into the story, it gets like way more simplified. So he definitely did kind of create a bit of two worlds happening in this this book, starting off kind of in this real world setting where they're telling the stories.
Sure. John, what about you? What were your thoughts here on these opening scenes? The fact that they're all together as a family, storytelling and so on. And
let me tell you what I'm going for here. I'm just gonna get my hand right up out, like Wolverine's got that hand coming right at the Kirby hand. I'll talk like this the whole time.
Yeah.
The Kirby fan in me loves the fist flying right at you, like it's just in your face the whole time. The Sienkiewicz fan in me loves the background in this panel, with it's just psychedelic and kind of wild, like it's from a kid's perspective. To your dad's point, like he's telling me a horror campfire story. I'm sitting around the fire and the shadows are coming to life. Everything's coming at me. It's kind of scary. I don't hate this panel. It's a little funky. It's a little odd, but I dig it. The one I love is the reality panel at the top. That's my favorite panel in the whole book, is with Logan's back to us and the firelight and the faces and the kids. You see a lot of them with smiles, a few of them with some trepidation. Xavier is kind of like happy with how far Logan's come. He's got a feeling of like joy, and that Logan is maybe finding a paternal instinct somewhere inside of him. Maybe something from Japan when he was with Kitty for so long. There's this element inside that had been non-existent up to now. This teacher side, the same side we've seen with Logan when he's talking to Nightcrawler, who's doubting his own leadership. There's this Logan that's like, no, you've got this. You can do this. It's hard, but we can get through it. I think Logan is an underappreciated teacher. And this is an element of what we're kind of seeing here. And it's what I loved from Jason Aaron's Wolverine in the X-Men series, where Logan was basically running Xavier's school with Kitty obviously as the dean. So I do love those two panels. It gets a little funky when we get to Storm. I love the outfit. The facial expression's a little odd, but for me, it's a solid start. I like the campfire story thing, and we always talk about the X-Men in downtime being some of our favorite stuff, and that's a little bit of what we're getting here.
Yeah, 100%. That to me. I love just them doing things other than saving the world per se, and just getting along. And the New Mutants are involved very much, as we've been getting them throughout these last couple stories. So it's nice to see them together. I have to say, this splash page grew on me tremendously just throughout, but not even so much the hand and the way Wolverine is drawn.
Not the hand.
But the background, look at what he did with the background. You have flames and smoke, and in the smoke is characters. You can see faces that are like fading. The darker pinks, to me, I took that as like thicker smoke. And it's like him verbalizing this story and things kind of coming to life. And I just thought that was a really cool thing to do in a comic book. I mean, I could picture that being like an animation, in a series or something where they actually, you actually see characters floating up or something to that effect. So I thought that was like really cool, kind of trippy, just very different. So I like that. And then, of course, just them being around the campfire for sure. Candace does mention, she says, I definitely noticed a difference in detail to show the transition. It's very blocky, which is why I'm not vibing with it. That's fair. That's fair. Yeah, and we'll go through, kind of the back and forth with this and the cartoons.
It's also kind of an odd thing that he did on that splash page with Wolverine's back to us, how the branch kind of comes down and like blends with them. It almost looks like he's got like two like wide, long, weird legs.
He's really splayed out.
Yeah, it's really kind of odd. Like you have to really stare at it.
He's dancing.
Yeah, he's kind of. It's just a weird. It's a weird choice where he placed that. But then you also kind of see Lockheed in the branch too there, which is kind of
his eyes will give him away, right?
Yeah,
I love Warlock too with the like green or the blue and black. Warlock is kind of cool.
Yep.
Magic Lasso's in the chat. Shout out. He just got a great copy of issue 108, one of the
Ryan,
early Cockrum and Claremont issues of X-Men. So congrats to you, Ryan, on that great pickup.
Very nice.
Awesome
Very nice. Cool. All right, let's keep this going then. As we get into it, a couple other things that are happening here. We have Amanda Sefton hanging out with Nightcrawler, and she says, "Hey, I'm going to go check on Colossus. He's been, down and kind of beating himself up ever since coming back from the whole story with the Beyonder and all that stuff. So let me just touch base with him because he's not doing well with Kitty. So meanwhile, while she's doing that, Illyana steps up to the plate and says, "Hey guys, like everyone wants to stay up. They're like, oh, it's almost time for bed." And she's like, wait. I got a great story. Can we please?" And I like kind of hearing, the kids say, "Come on, no, we don't want to go to bed yet. We want to stay up. We want to hear one more." So Illyana steps up and her being like the younger, right, of a lot of the group, I guess not counting New Mutants now that they're more her age, but for everybody else, I thought that was kind of cool to see her step up. And she immediately gives us this awesome, an additional splash page that we get, as they call it, The Adventures of Lockheed and the Space Dragon. Lockheed, the Space Dragon, and his pet girl Kitty is the title.
I love that title.
Yeah, and I do like the detail in her face, the way that she's drawn there. Again, it's different, but it's not quite that cartoony stuff that we get to here in a little bit. And then, of course, we get some really cool space shuttle type stuff here. But what are your thoughts here on, again, some of the stuff? We see Amanda kind of checking in on Colossus, and then on top of that, Illyana stepping in. John, what are your thoughts here?
I mean, I like that Amanda continues to be one of the most sympathetic, kind, understanding, supportive ladies in the X universe. I'm really kind of sad that she's not married to Nightcrawler at this point in X history. Like that this did not end up being successful disappoints me. But I know that there's like a weird sibling thing going on there, Royal Tenenbaumsy kind of thing.
Yeah.
As far as the spaceships go, this gives me great 80s vibes. You're talking Battlestar Galactica, Star Wars, Star Trek, all those things had been in full swing at this point. And we know Claremont was a fan. We know he loved science fiction. We know he was a Trekkie. We know he was into Star Wars when that first launched. So it's perfect that an Illyana kind of character, much like Kitty before her, would draw on that nerddom for their visuals, for their storytelling. And the vibes work. I get completely Battlestar Galactica, the TV series from the 80s vibes from this ship, and I dig on it. I think it's cool.
Awesome stuff. Ryan, what about you? What were your thoughts here? The rest of the campfire scenes, and then going into Illyana kicking off a new story.
Yeah, it's cool that she steps up, and I mean, as the story goes forward, she's a little wise beyond her years in this issue, but one thing I noticed, and especially it hit me on this page or these two pages, is there's kind of like an interesting mix between the art and the coloring. It kind of almost has that that Andy Warhol feel, like the black and white photo with then the color, like the very just vibrant colors painted into it. Anyways, it's kind of it reminds me of those kind of that art style, which is kind of coming through on this page especially. I do definitely like the space page. That's totally agree with John. Gets that 80s sci-fi vibes. I like the art in it, and it's a good start to going into this adventure story that Ileana tells.
Absolutely. Quick hello to our good friend Rod. What is up, Just a Rican?
Rod's been dropping content a bunch.
I've been seeing
He's been
it.
doing a little bit of live streaming, but a ton of great videos. He's been getting a bunch of cool Hot Wheels and comic figures and stuff. So it's great to see Rod back.
Absolutely. Colin says, I hate when couples refer to each other as lovers.
A little cringe. It's a little cringe.
And Peter is still pretty young, let's be honest.
Yeah, that's right.
Whatever.
All right, let's keep this going then. Next up, we have the adventure really starts to kick off here, where Kitty Pryde is just a little girl. Her ship gets taken over. They call the ship the Chicago, which I like the little tie-in, knowing that she was from Chicago. And of course, we get the White Queen herself coming through here, Emma Frost, to take over the ship. And she's here to capture Kitty. She wants Kitty to be on her side, essentially. She wants to take her as one of her own and essentially turn her into kind of her next up. And she is really seems really obsessed with her powers, as if there is something special about Kitty Pryde. Even she doesn't know all the details of what she's capable of doing. So I thought that was interesting. Of course, in order to do this, she links them together by touching Kitty's arm and using her ability to crystallize it, essentially representing that they are now one in the same. Again, at this point, we don't really know what that means. Kitty doesn't either. She ends up using some of her powers and being able to escape when she does, even though she doesn't know even what power she used. So I like that Ileana's telling this from a story point of Kitty's very young, she's new, she doesn't understand her powers, but she's special, and people in the galaxy essentially are after her. So that's what we get here before we and then we get some other action scenes, as you can see down below there. It seems like someone else is starting to attack them. We'll get into that in just a little bit, but here's where we really start to see some of this other artwork. And this is where I kind of want to defend Laileo, because of the differences in the artwork in the beginning and here. If you don't like the artwork in the beginning, that's fair, and that's just, if that's not for you, then that's totally fair.
Or vice versa.
Yeah. But I do think with this here, there is effort going into it. Oddly enough, that is to be designed as looking like someone like a cartoon, looking more cartoonish on purpose. Again, nothing factual about that, but that's otherwise I would imagine that all of it would look exactly the same, even like the stuff in the very beginning, which it definitely is different in its own way. So but curious of both of your guys' thoughts. John, I'll pass it to you first. As we get into this other world, this fairy tale world, what do you think of kind of the opening scenes here?
So for me, we mentioned Battlestar, we mentioned Star Wars, Star Trek. I mentioned the vibe from here is a different sci-fi 80s classic. This is Flash Gordon for me all the way. If you guys haven't seen that super cheesy 1980 Flash Gordon with the Queen music soundtrack, this is it. This is legit. Like, you look at the White Queen that they got going with Emma Frost there, like just dripping. I am getting full 80s Flash Gordon vibes, which is another great sci-fi kind of fantasy epic, and in keeping with what Ileana is kind of trying to tell here. So I do love that huge shout out to the way you laid this out, Justin, because this is not the way it's laid out in the comic. He's broken apart these panels, and I think a more successful way, by putting the Emma pages right in the center and then moving the secondary story off to the far sides. This is how it should be laid out. I actually like this layout better than the way that was in the comic.
John, I didn't tell you I'm actually going to be an editor. I'm going to try to.
There it is.
Marvel.
There it is. Home run. Home run. And yeah, to your point and your dad's point, obviously this is a very clean line. Now we're into this kind of Flash Gordon comic almost style, where everything has got a much cleaner, less shadowy kind of line. None of that Jim Lee cross hatching extra line work. It's very simple. It's almost like pencil, and then straight on top of it is the inking and coloring, and it's just very smooth. So you look at Emma's face versus Logan's face from earlier, and you're getting a much cleaner look.
Yeah, no, it's a great point. And Dad, in the chat, to your point too. Yeah, I guess it wouldn't be how I would know how to describe that or look for, but that's exactly how to put it, as he mentions the lack of shadows, essentially. Right. Like the detail and shading is completely gone now, compared to the earlier pages. Candace agreeing, says these were panels sprinkled in that I liked, like the close up of Emma. Yeah, no, yeah, for sure. Ryan, what about you? What are your thoughts here? Now that we're getting a little bit more into these other panels here. Obviously, I know I've said my piece. My dad's chiming in. Don't feel pressure. We want to hear your thoughts. But like, where are your thoughts, or where was your head, going into this, even before we went live? And what do you think of the story right now?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, like the art is not my cup of tea. I find it flat and plain, and it just kind of comes off like a little rushed. I like the intention of the change of styles and to go kind of more storybook. I like that thought. I like the thinking going into that, but the way it came out isn't really my cup of tea. So that's kind of where I'm left visually with this. But when it comes to the story, what I do, like what Claremont's doing here is he uses callbacks to the history of the stories, right? Like Emma Frost and Kitty have some long back history from when Kitty was coming to Xavier, to the X-Men. There was a bit of a competition. Her parents wanted to send her off to the other school. So the choice of the White Queen and Sebastian Shaw, the Black King, as kind of the antagonists, the villains here, is really a good choice. I like how he peppers in to these kinds of almost side stories, make-believe stories, those real callbacks to what's happened in X-Men history prior. And I mean, that's what you get to when it's Claremont. He's the guy who's been behind all these characters. So he always gets to thread those things through stories that he does. So I do like that. I like how it weaves some actual X-Men history into this make-believe story.
That's a great point, Ryan.
Well said. Absolutely.
And your dad's got another great point, because the transition from Logan telling a story to Illyana telling a story, this does have a very childlike quality in the sort of over the top silliness of it all. Has a very youthful. Now, does that make it enjoyable? That's the reader question, right? Are we enjoying the way Claremont is laying out this story, or does it feel, because to me it still felt really choppy, exposition heavy, and it kind of meandered a little bit, and I was struggling these early pages to kind of get into it. But the concept of a story by a kid, much like the book Justin posted today, dealing with Kitty's original story when she was telling Illyana a story, flip side of this issue, I think was executed a lot better as far as the way Claremont wrote it.
Yeah, well said. Ryan, that's maybe you and we'll get online together and go ask Claremont at Terrificon, and we'll say, hey, listen, buddy, I'll bring the issue out and I'll be like, what was the deal here? Did you, was there any instruction by you to do, that this art was like this, or was it not? Because I know that Steve's artwork can also look different than this. We'll have to pick his brain and get an official.
Who do we blame? Who do we blame?
Yeah. Because yeah, because I'm with you. Like, I don't, this by any means, I don't like this art. It doesn't. I wish it were different.
I want my $1 back. I wish it were. I want my $1.
Yeah, like to get into the, but no, just I think I'm on the other side of it too, where I'm like defending the guy Steve just because I know he is a good artist. And maybe this will either one, it was rushed. That could be a possibility as well, as you mentioned. Definitely could be rushed, or he just meant to do it in this way. Either way, yeah. I'm not a fan of the art. I do like the artist, but yeah, this is. I think I'm curious what what we get from Claremont in that. But Ryan, you and I, that'll be an adventure. We'll go.
That'll be awesome.
All right, let's keep it going here. Next up, so. It turns out that the people that are attacking Emma, because she can't believe, she's like, someone's trying to attack me while I'm taking over the Chicago. It turns out that it's this wild pirate crew. We learned that it's Wolverine, and he's got a crew of his own with him. We discover in a little bit here, but first is Wolverine. We see him coming out of the shadows, very much in Wolverine style, shredding up some of the bandits that are working for Emma right now. And then of course we get Nightcrawler coming through, taking out some of what looks like to be these weird robots. And then Kitty, as she needs to get saved. A bunch of or we get like these flames and something in the shadows attacking what we don't know what yet. But of course, in a page or two later, we find out it is Lockheed who comes to save the day. And she's like terrified, doesn't know who this is. Meanwhile, in the center page there, I do like that we get Carmine, Kitty's father and mother there for just a moment. And Emma Frost is like, hey, if you don't listen to what I say, this is what's going to happen. And she takes her parents and she turns them to ice and breaks them.
Yeah.
I thought this was pretty, violent for like
you're like Carmine finally gets it.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, Emma did the favor for Kitty. Okay, like the dad of the year is now gone now. I wasn't quite expecting. I thought maybe she would like threaten them and be like, if you don't do as I say, I'll do something bad to them. But she straight kills them. At least from what this had shown me. So
Ileana Savage.
Yeah. She is. She really is. I mean, hanging out with Blasco for 7 years.
Yeah.
8 years.
Dark side.
Yeah, very much. Yeah, and then of course, as I mentioned, we get Lockheed on the other side as Kitty's trying to run away from this demon that's spitting fire, and it turns out to be this cute little dragon who actually gives her a lick on the nose, and they become friends. So, before we go into more of that, anything that here, Ryan just seeing Wolverine and Nightcrawler and them, we kind of could assume, right, that there's going to be some other characters that show up. What did you think here when we got to see some of the other side of this team that's coming in play now?
I mean, as a trio of Lockheed, Wolverine, and Nightcrawler makes, again, Claremont just making sense, right? Those are the three constants in her life, as like father figures or elders, one she respects and loves the most. And then, of course, Lockheed being like her close companion. It just makes a ton of sense that it's the three of them that play the heroes and save her in this set of panels and in the story.
Yeah, absolutely. I love this comment by Ryan Magic Lasso saying Wolverine and his Starjammers. That's right, kind of has that vibe. John, what about you?
We don't have a chode, so.
Oh, that's right. There was a character actually like a couple pages ago, a big green guy that was carrying Kitty, and I kind of thought of that as chode a little bit. As John takes sides. Yeah, exactly. John, what were some of your thoughts here about Wolverine and his Starjammers?
I love the comment that Ryan made earlier about the throwbacks, right? Because we get Kitty Pryde with Wolverine as a potential father figure, parents that are kind of non-existent, and parents that are like connected in their stories to both the Kitty Pryde miniseries, but then also Kitty's first appearance. Remember when Dad was on the lawn, he's trying to choose between Emma and Xavier. Xavier's mind melding it. Dad and Mom are just kind of these empty shards of nothing, and ultimately in Ileana's version of retelling it, she's kind of implying the same thing, And so that great callbacks to X-Men lore and history. And then, of course, the most consistent characters to help Kitty, Logan and Lockheed. Like, of course, it makes sense that they would be the ones to come to her rescue amidst all this other chaos.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's keep this going then. Next couple pages still within the rescue. This is, we kind of learned that they are a little bit of a pirate crew. Had to throw Lucy in there, of course. And they
Young Frankenstein.
Yeah, oh, dude. So they of course they have her join their crew as she, not much is left on the Chicago, the spaceship. So she joins them, and they beam her up, right? Bring her back, and you see this large face, which happens to be Ileana, as a computer to the ship that they're on, and that's where I just think of this scene here for the just a big head as he's like kind of checking that out. And then to kind of speed up time a little bit, we get a little montage of Kitty Pryde growing up. It starts out in a couple weeks and goes through a little bit further, and she grows up and just kind of showing that they go on all these space adventures. And meanwhile, she's still in the back of her mind, she's had nightmares, dreams about, what happened, Emma Frost kind of attacking her parents dying, all this stuff. And so now throughout this montage, she's kind of growing up to be a young adult, and she wants revenge. She wants to go after, Emma Frost here. So, we have a cool little splash page just on that. And I'm curious to hear your guys' thoughts on some of the layouts and stuff. So John, I'll pass it to you first. What do you think, how we get to see Ileana in the story, and what did you think of the montage?
I think Adam hits a home run here with bringing up yet another sci-fi bomb here, which is the Firefly. Such a great series. I loved Firefly, and yeah, there's a river storyline here. Obviously, this not inspired by Firefly, but maybe inversely, you get the Kitty Pryde be rising to her success, and another throwback to the concept of how far Kitty has come, right? How far she's come from the young ingenue who had no clue what she was getting into to now like, oh no, I can fight ninjas with Logan and be just fine and really master my abilities and as a warrior, as a person, what have you. The montage is a fun panel. I think there's some really skewed art. The hand holding the gun looks like a mile long. It's a really strange. If you look closely at any portion of that drawing of Kitty, it's odd. Face, obviously, she's got the giant anime eyes, which is kind of fun in the style, but it's a lot to take in. So I can appreciate what they were going for. I don't know that it hits a home run for me, but story-wise, now we're clicking a little bit into giving her a chance to level up so that she can get back to that big boss.
Yeah, well said. Candace, she says, I like the splash page on the right, but I was confused why it was drawn with more detail here. Yeah, that's a great point, because you do see he does bring back some shadows on that bottom Kitty, on the bottom right, her face. And I don't know if that was just a way to kind of show how she's grown up, and then before he goes back to his other style of artwork, or if he was really trying to like show young Kitty versus older Kitty, or if that was a slip, or I don't know. Yeah, that's a good point though. Ryan, what about you? What are your thoughts here on Kitty? Kitty Pryde's she's a queen of different outfits. And of course we get another outfit change, even though this is a story. I think it certainly fits the bill as far as Ileana sharing it, knowing that her friend likes to change outfits, fairly often. What'd you think of some of these scenes?
She's the queen of dated bad outfits. She's very much always in stuff that's very of the time. And it doesn't it doesn't age well. But it's funny that, like, you're talking about that one panel, the art style changing a little bit. That panel feels super 80s. And I just wonder if maybe, that's the artist's opportunity to kind of just go crazy on a page, you know what I mean? And kind of do a little bit more of a standout page amongst all this other stuff, right? So I think that's maybe what he's going for there. And like the aesthetic feels just like very 80s. So maybe that's kind of the motivation for that page itself. I like Ileana becoming, as the storyteller, she's inserted herself into the story, but in this sort of almost like non-emotional way. Like she's just this entity that kind of like helps along the way, but doesn't play like a pivotal emotional role in the story. It's a nice idea that a storyteller would do that. So I like that addition as well.
Well said. Yeah, no, I'm with you. Tony says, how does Kitty's new outfit on the lower left panel fit the story? Confusing. Tony, this is chalking it up to she likes different outfits and Ileana's giving it to her. And
at this point, any X fan who's actually questioning a change of Kitty Pryde's outfits hasn't been reading. I'm just saying it's a thing. It's a trope. Call it like Wolverine smoking a cigar. Like it's gonna happen.
It just comes with
it's part of the person that she is.
Yeah, and I've heard Claremont talk about like the idea of her stuff, of her different outfits before, and he's very much stands on the point of she's a little kid. She's she's 14. She's trying all these different things.
Teenager,
he stands by that pretty much.
He should look back at what you wore in high school. Like everybody's got regrets, right?
It's bad. It's really bad. Yeah,
right there. Nail head.
I've done way worse. All right, let's keep this going. So then we get to see we get another scene with more outfits, right? Yeah, as Roy Kirk had pointed out. Wait till the next page. yeah, she continues on. They have a, what does she call it? A gizmo. This gizmo will facsimile whatever design your heart desires. This is given to her from Ileana, the computer. And so she puts on a little bit of a changing outfit show for Wolverine there, smoking the cigar. You got Nightcrawler sitting there as well, seeing a different thing. And then meanwhile, there's a little hint of, Lockheed getting this like attention to something else. Just a little hint, as we get into more of that, but it does have a little square that just kind of blends into that. And now, of course, they are getting ready because it is Professor X's birthday or celebration. And he's there with Lilandra and everybody else. So they're, again, in outer space going to see the Shi'ar Empire, which apparently is massive. I think they compared it to like Brazil or something like that, with where they were going, this planet they were going to. On the middle page, they do get greeted by Lilandra and Professor X and the entire Imperial Guard to come in. And meanwhile, Kitty Pryde immediately is like, oh my God, like, I can't believe I wore this, at a thing like this. I should have wore this instead and all this stuff. And as she walks down the aisle, she immediately sees Peter Rasputin for the first time. And of course, she's just like, whoa. I think she says yum at one point as she sees him and is just immediately starstruck. Meanwhile, Professor X already being able to tell just from her facial reaction to say, hey, you look like you take kindly to one of my knights there on the side. And then he actually speaks to her with his mind and saying, what if I told you that he feels the same way? And she's like, oh my gosh, you gotta introduce. And so, Professor X is doing a little bit of the date doctor here, connecting these two before we go further into the story. And then of course, I think, in this page we do get Lockheed randomly flying off, and this is back to what he was like pausing for before, like he noticed something out the window, something to that effect. So he flies off. Wolverine doesn't buy anything with the whole love story that's going on right now between Kitty. He also believes that she's way too good for a guy like Peter, as he expresses to Nightcrawler. And he's like, well, either way, I'm going to go check on Lockheed, make sure he's cool. We're not sure why he just up and left, being the lead of this pirate group essentially. But I'm going to go follow him anyways. Ryan, what are some of your thoughts here? We get your boy Colossus now in play, playing as a knight, at the sidearms of Professor X and Lilandra. We get some Shi'ar action as far as where they're going. A lot of other costumes from Kitty, as we just talked about, and some other things going on. So, what are your thoughts here at this point?
First off, feels very Asgardian.
In
this setting. And I gotta say, not one of my favorite Colossus, get ups, roles, but I'm glad he's in the story. And I gotta say, Ileana is playing a little bit of a dangerous game here. That this little like love situation with Kitty and Colossus in this story would create some awkward vibes around the campfire during this particular time. I mean, it goes somewhere further into the story, but when she brings this part up in the story, I would imagine it's a little weird around the campfire.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely kind of putting their dirty laundry out there a little bit, right?
Yeah.
No, I'm with you. John, what about you? What were your thoughts here on some of the mad outfits that we have going on here?
I love Ryan's point, because I didn't even consider the fact that they're all sitting around listening to her replay really awkward breakup, like from the beginning, and now it's like, oh crap, where's this gonna go? Great point. Holy crap, that put a whole new spin on what I was
like. Peter's just got to be daggers at his
like, oh my God, I'm just sweating. Like, why? I'm gonna go get a beer with Logan, please. I love the look of the city. I want to cut to just a little bit of a highlight for that. The background work on this lower panel here with the spaceship, and then that upper middle panel with the whole cathedral kind of like palace look in the background, really crushing that. And I think that's where to your dad's point, the simple line work, the simple, not a lot of like shading, not a lot of cross hatching, really works. This background of the city looks phenomenal. And that's my favorite kind of stuff that overall we're seeing here in the back and in this art in this issue. Story wise, I think it takes too long. Like there's a lot of page work to go through the party here, and and we miss the stuff, and maybe it's Claremont just rushing through this issue that explains why Lockheed is running off, which I guess is related to the fact that he's jealous that she likes this Colossus guy. And then Wolverine goes after him with the jetpack. It feels very like hurried. The important stuff is hurried, and we're slowing down for the not as important stuff a little bit for me.
Yeah.
But let's get to the next page, because love me the Nightcrawler drawing coming up here.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You know, this kind of, you know, splits a little bit of the story too. This all kind of being in one fell swoop as we're reading through. But you know, yeah, so we get more of the palace. You get to see Nightcrawler dancing with his lady. And then I like that every other panel here, a little bit of I think of like Tom King. I know he's more modern, but I think of that storytelling of the different panel layouts that him and Gerard have done. But yeah, you get to see a flashback or a flash between these two scenes of what's happening, and you see Nightcrawler dancing, having a good time at the palace with the party, and then you have Lockheed, who's flying closer and closer to what he's being drawn to that we don't quite know yet, until finally he gets to where down this like alleyway. And there's a bunch of dragons, it looks like, that are swooping him and attacking. And Wolverine immediately shouts, "I knew it was a trap, knew it was a trick." And he just starts slashing away, trying to save him. Again, meanwhile, Nightcrawler's having a good old time at the palace.
Wearing a spectacular hat.
Yeah, great point.
Outfit is on point.
Would love to see more of that from him.
Yeah, he's like so many, those 2-3 Nightcrawler panels where he's just having a blast. Love them. Love them. And you can look out, you can pinch and zoom on the app, or you can look. They all have great detail.
Yep.
Why is the hat on, then off, then on?
You don't understand fashion, Ryan. Clearly. Come on.
It looks like he's dancing with 3 different women as well. If you look closely, right? So I think he's like just changing and going. You know, he's hey, you know, Kitty Pryde was in the whole changing outfit thing. He's like, you know what? I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to change.
The hat's working with this girl. She doesn't like this girl. Doesn't like the hat. I got to get closer. I get it.
He's trying to weigh his options. You know,
don't hate the player.
Exactly. Yep. I respect it. So we get an attack, and then meanwhile, as Wolverine tries to defend Lockheed, he gets jumped, and it turns out to be Emma Frost and his crew and her crew. And you can see Wolverine is frozen there. A lot of ice, a lot of freezing. I guess makes sense with Emma, but and you see Lockheed being tied up as well. And it's not even Lockheed, because he does point out that the other dragons took Lockheed away. There was only like one left behind, and that's the one that you see with Wolverine as like a yellow shadow. And he points that out, saying like, yeah, at least there's one here. I think he's gonna kind of question it, but then that's when he gets attacked by Emma Frost. And then Emma takes both of them back, and all they get is you see Kitty at the bottom kind of questioning. She says that voice, because all you hear is "Good evening, my precious kitty," and she turns, and of course in that last set of panels there with the green background, you have Emma Frost projecting herself holographic into the party, and basically threatening and saying, I have your dragon, here's your dragon. She shows what looks to be Lockheed dying, and her killing him. And now we've already seen it once happen, so we kind of we're like, well, Emma is not going to hold back. She definitely has killed before so far in this issue. And so now Kitty thinks that Lockheed is dead. She's devastated. She yells, "Murdering witch!" And you get a little bit of a glimpse. You can see her arm there at the bottom as she's shining her connection to show, and she swears that that she's gonna kill Emma Frost. That's out of her mind at this point. So the story definitely escalates quickly here. But John, I'll send it back to you. Other than, I know I love that you love the hats. What did you think of some of the the action scenes here of one big thing that's a little odd is Wolverine getting snuck up on by Emma Frost? I don't think that ever really happened. Like, that to me is like, okay, this is a fairy tale. Like, Emma Frost,
you would smell that perfume coming.
Right, exactly.
No question. You know she's just doused in the stuff.
Right.
Whatever the female equivalent of Axe body spray, she's wearing.
Exactly.
I like the art on these panels for the most part. The Wolverine stuff's a little weird with the freezing. His face is a little simple and off, but the kitty with the like fist. I love that. The breaking of Lockheed, really kind of interesting. And yeah, to your point, this is when things start getting going. And I think this is when the story actually finds its feet a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. Ryan, any thoughts here to add between, again, some of the party going that's, Nightcrawler enjoying himself all the way to Wolverine getting snuck up on from Emma Frost?
Yeah. I mean, the just the misdirect of there's, at the bottom of the first panel page, there's two Lockheeds essentially. There's two purple dragons there, and so when we get to the last panel and we see one, get killed by the hands of Emma, that's why we think Lockheed's gone, right? And but it was a subtle thing that I didn't even catch until looking at it now, right? That there's a bit of a misdirect going on here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's definitely some windiness to these stories, and even though it is like this fairy tale, I know there's stuff for sure I had to like kind of do the reread through and pick up on as I went along, because there is a lot going on here. Well, let's keep it going. We have finally, after the party basically stops, they realize what's going on. Wolverine is missing, Lockheed's missing, or they think he's dead. Nightcrawler, gathers with Professor X and some of his knights, including Peter, who offers to go along with them because now Kitty's like, hey, like we got to get the ship, we got to go save Wolverine, do what we can do, try to kill Emma Frost and get revenge and all this other stuff. So who's with me? Colossus is down to go along with. We get a little glimpse, meanwhile, of Emma Frost and I guess one of her henchmen or whoever, this bald guy that comes to be. And this is where we get a little hint of the idea that she consumed a life. Or a life essence, or whatever that is. It doesn't quite go to that much detail, other than the fact that she's extracted something that's given her much more power, and she wants more of it. And that's now her goal as part of going on through the rest of the story, trying to figure out how can she get more of it. It seems that it came from the dragon is kind of the hint or explanation to it. Meanwhile, I love that Wolverine is just still like frozen, upside down.
He's just again, you get there. You should be getting Return of the Jedi vibes as far as frozen and carbonite stuff, but that I think this is supposed to be Hellfire Club-esque people. So the Sebastian Shaw stand-in, that kind of, I think it's generally what we're getting there.
Yeah, no, for sure. And one other interesting thing too is she has like these robots that work for her, and they look like Nightcrawler. Like they got the blue head and the red outfit, the one in the middle page here that we see. So I just thought that was also interesting that we're still getting the descriptive or detail of like why why Nightcrawler. It's just kind of interesting that was a thing. Even in the background, there's this one close up of her face in there. Now I will say, definitely some brutal artwork here with her face and like no detail of neck to chin, like no jaw. God. Like there's just like it looks like a foot. It's like a foot.
I died when I saw that. I just laughed so hard. Just the lack of a chin line or jaw line there. It's just like, man, brutal.
Definitely glaring. Yeah. And then, of course, we get flashback. They realize that they in order to go after her the way they need to, they have to go through a black hole. And in order to go through a black hole, they have to get a pilot to be able to fly their ship to get there in the first place, because it's not that easy to fly through a black hole. So now they go into a bar. It looks like kind of a rundown place. She's asking, for hints of where this person might be. And of course, it's referring to Aurora. Which just this whole thing of them coming to her for pilot just made me think of when you see Finn and what the other guy that's in Star Wars, and he's like, why are you helping me? He's like, he's like, you need a pilot. I need a pilot. Like, he's trying to act all friendly, like, yeah, no, we just, I'm trying to do the good thing and save you, whatever. So that was definitely part of the scene that made me think of that. I know as we're kind of going through talking about some of this stuff, John, anything that you wanted to point out here before we move on to these other pages?
I mean, I think you did a great job. I would just highlight the fact that you chose a great GIF, because we're entering the Han Solo Chewbacca portion of this story. So great GIF. I'm glad you went Star Wars.
Had to get a little bit of Star Wars.
Yeah. Sure. I totally got Cantina
Oh yeah.
seeking out Han Solo. Yeah, who shot first vibes? You
Yeah,
know?
Storm is Han and Rogue is Chewie, and it works.
Yeah.
Colin says, "Hey, anyone ever tell you look like a foot?" I mean, yeah, it definitely looks like a foot. Let's see. Okay, I lost track of my thing here. Okay, let's move on to this next slide here. Yeah, we get a little bit more of Storm just saying like, that's not me anymore. I don't do, the whole pilot thing. I lost my ability to fly, all these different things. Again, kind of correlating with real life, right? Of what we know what's going on with her currently. And Kitty Pryde giving a little bit of a motivational speech, or trying to almost or kind of guilt trip her too at the same time to get her to come out of this shell of hers and get back on that horse. And then meanwhile, Rogue shows up, which I wasn't like expecting Rogue necessarily. And she like fights Kitty off, saying, "Hey, back off. This is my friend." Meanwhile, we get a little glimpse again of Emma. Now she's using Frozen Wolverine as a footstool, resting her feet up as she's they're watching her from a distance, essentially, knowing what she's doing, that she's getting this pilot, this well-known pilot. And she says, "It's not going to matter either way. This is all, my plans are still going to work fine. Go ahead, let them have the pilot, Aurora." Aurora then gets into the ship. She gives it a go, and sure enough, they're able to rock it out. And she gives her, really, Kitty did a lot of prepping. I think she did a lot of like prep talk and kind of getting her mind right to get into a lot of this stuff. And then we'll go to the black hole. But before we do, Ryan, anything you want to touch on here with the vibes that you were mentioning before as we met Storm and what kind of situation she's in right now?
Yeah, it's again, and this is where we're getting kind of starting to set up more resolution towards the end and the reasoning behind Ileana's story. But like, this is mirroring Storm's current situation. She's lost her powers in real life. Here she's lamenting the fact that she can't drive the ship, pilot the ship like she used to. She doesn't have the command of the cosmos. Just nice mirroring of what's really going on in the X-Men world right now.
Yep. Yeah, no, absolutely. John, Candace asked you a question here. What did you think of your girl Storm here in these panels? Are these your key panels of the evening, John?
Firstly, I'm happy that anybody calls her my girl. So
she
doesn't
Candace,
need an owner. She doesn't need any ownership. She does need hairspray to some points in the chat. Clearly it's flopping down a little. The mohawk needs energy. I think it's funny. She goes from, "I don't fly anymore," and you turn the page and she's flying. It's very quick. It's a very quick transition from "that's not my life anymore" to "hold on, buckle up." I love the glasses. They're kind of fun. And she did make that Kessel run in 12 parsecs.
That's right.
So no, I'm entertained. I don't love the face. It's very inconsistent panel to panel. Like, her face looks very different all through the book, but I like the concept. I do love her as Han Solo. Give me more of that. Like, I want that as a book. Like, yeah.
All right, guys, you heard it here first. John just quoted. He said, "I did not like Storm's face." Boom. There it is. There's the breakup. Yeah. She's not available. Bobby says the joke's on Emma. Logan's in defeat. There it is. We're gonna keep this going. So yeah, now again, this is where I was talking about. She kind of gets her prepped, and it's like, "Hey, you can do this. We need you to do this." And Storm goes, "Okay, like, you're asking, but I'm willing to do it." So she gets back on her horse here, takes control of the ship, and they go cruising into this black hole, which they do have some really unique trippiness. It's squares, but to me, I thought of this scene,
you have to.
Willy Wonka.
It's a great choice.
Perfect. Yeah. So this was them kind of cruising into it, and other than that, I mean, not much else other than seeing the rest of the team ready for battle there. She says, "Everybody in battle armor, weapons at full charge. I hope you're right, Ileana." And then she says, "Beam us down," and that's where they, essentially are getting ready. But any comments here before I know this is a short bit of this, but John, I'll pass it back to you. Anything you want to add to these two?
No, I think the gifts are on point. I do like the psychedelic nature of it, but I'm fine to keep going.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Same. Perfect. So so we dive right into where they wanted to go, which happens to be where they're looking for Lockheed, right? They had the figure out the location of where he is, and Lockheed, he's chilling. Not only is he chilling, he's like he. You get a little he.
Yeah.
As he's relaxing there, it turns out that these dragons are all supportive of him, that they're all one and the same, and that they're at their what looks to be their home or like this massive cave of some sort.
And they're all female and they're all interested.
Yes, that was
let's get to that where he's basically being like, sweet, I'm the one rooster in the hen house. This is a dream. He's living his best life.
Yes, turns out that they're all female, and that the population needs a male in order to get things going again, and that's where he's getting this call from that he's in need of help, essentially. So we get a lot of that, and then of course it's all interrupted by Emma Frost, the queen herself, showing up there again, and Rogue talking about how they're outnumbered and outgunned. They're gonna have to battle their way through, and then you get this massive dragon kind of crashing through, and that's where I thought of the Shrek dragon here with Donkey, because like Lockheed is Donkey in this scenario. I feel like very much like so. Freddie, any Shrek fans out there? But yeah, so we get to see this dragon kind of go at it. The only thing is, Emma Frost's crew, they put up a good fight. Their weapons are actually like working on this dragon, and they take her out. So a little bit of a challenge there for some of them, but a lot of action going on here. Ryan, what are your thoughts? Just seeing some of now that we've gotten here, we figured out that Lockheed is being called upon for other needs.
I had a really funny reaction to that discovery of Lockheed. When I was younger, my family had a cat, and we left the garage door open one time when we left, and we came back, and it was our male cat in the garage with like 7 to 9 other female cats. So this was literally like right out of my own life experience.
That's phenomenal.
So funny.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so I was like, good for Lockheed.
How many kittens were created in your neighborhood that week?
A lot. So I love Lockheed's, help us, Obi-Wan, you're our only hope there.
Yeah.
Funny story, or portion of the story. And then I think it's cool that even there's even a giant elder, what was the word they used in the comic, or matron, anyways,
matriarch.
Matriarch, dragon that comes in and kind of actually helps out the team distract the Queen's Guard and everything. So fun couple panels there.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to jump into these next ones, and then John, I'll pass it back to you.
Yeah.
We get immediately, as all this craziness is going on, they figure out a window where they can, they think that they can defeat Emma Frost by going after her ship, even though she's back down with them. And so she gets Lockheed. It's just her and Lockheed alone. They agree to go from this planet up into space. Things get a little crazy, but as long as you hold your breath, you're able to, you usually are fine to be out in outer space the way that Kitty did.
It's a campfire story. The rules of logic and physics don't matter.
Wait, but what about the excuse of Magneto and his wagon on there, man? I won't get into all that.
Yeah.
So
we don't talk about the wagon.
So now we have, so we see Lockheed carry her up. She's just about to pass out, but they're able to make it. She actually does go unconscious for a few minutes, while they're first greeted by what looks to be like Chode a little bit there in the background, the big green guy coming out along with some other the soldiers, Emma's soldiers. And I love the one line, because they're like, intruder alert, sensors, and they say find them, crush them, tear them apart. And it just says Lockheed, however, has other ideas, and it seems like you see this fire coming out of it. So very much like a Wolverine style,
Yeah.
And then of course she wakes up. She goes, "Oh, did I miss anything?" And realizes that you see actually a little bit of the rubble of these melted, whether they're robots or bodies or whatever. And she's willing to forgive, because she knows Emma did what she did, and ultimately needs to get the revenge. And if they do what they got to do. And then of course, Wolverine, flashback to them back on the planet. Wolverine is taking out the King side of things, which just nice to see Wolverine being able to get his claws out and about at the same time there. So I'm sorry, that was actually on the ship. Sorry, that was still on the ship, because that's where they break up the communication between Emma being down on the planet. John, any thoughts here with some of the floating? I guess that's also very Star Warsy too. Some could say
it is a little bit
floating in space.
This is where the story yet again becomes super choppy for me, and I'm throwing Claremont under the bus a little bit here because I just feel like he introduces something and then like 2 panels later it's eliminated and not important, and it's like I understand annuals, they want to throw everything in the kitchen sink into the book and just jam pack it and make people buy it, but it just gets to be a slog. Let's introduce a whole giant dragon and a whole field of dragons, and then they're not important. We don't need it. It's actually not part of the story. Don't worry about it. Hey, let's attack the bad guy, but no, actually we're going to transfer to a whole new setting, and we stormed the city. The city's not important. We're going to get on the spaceship now. Like it's just. It's ADHD too much for me. Like I get lost in the absolute panic of what's going on here.
Yeah.
And nothing matters and nothing has weight. Now, am I overlooking it? Over examining it? Probably. Is it supposed to be a teenager telling a campfire story? So is it going to be an ADHD story? Sure.
Yeah.
But does that mean I'm entertained and it's working?
Right.
No. If that's not what I want from it, then that's not going to be something I'm going to enjoy from it. So that's where I'm just like, yikes. Yeah, to Candace's point, it's exactly how kids tell story, but exactly why a person who works in an elementary school is like, get to the point. Okay, get to the point. You're killing me here. Like, get to the point.
Right.
So for me, like, this is where I'm just reading the story going, oh my God, how many more pages do I got to get through here? God.
Yeah. I'm with you.
I'm feeling the slog here. Now, Wolverine killing Sebastian Shaw or his stand-in all day. Give me that all day.
Right.
But it's a lot.
No, you make some really great points there. There's definitely a lot of kind of build up, throw it away, build up, throw it away, and it's a little exhausting. And Ryan, I know you mentioned before, like you had kind of broken some of this up as you even read it, and I think you mentioned today, right? Was you were reading it? I had done the same thing. I have not, and I've read this twice now, and both times I didn't sit through the entire thing to do so because it just gets exhausted. It gets a little exhausting. It really does. Between that and the lacking of art, that too. So I think the combination of those two things that definitely makes it tough. But Ryan, anything else to add there with what John said, and anything new with some of the artwork or Wolverine there, dashing at Shaw?
Yeah, well, even what John just said, like he, you want get to the point. Don't like the way this is chopped up. Maybe it's purposeful because it is coming from Eliana, who's like 14 or whatever, but do I want to consume a story like this? Do I want to consume this art style like this? It's the same. You could apply the exact same reasoning to both the art and the story, and it just kind of what I think ends up leading towards not, I don't think, anybody's favorite annual, which we got here. That said, I like the moment where they go up above the surface of the planet. They get into the spaceship. That's kind of classic Kitty action there, like how Lockheed jumps into the fray there. So, and I like that panel of Lockheed unleashing the fire.
Yeah, raising a little hell.
That's kind of a cool panel right there.
Yeah, absolutely. A couple things I wanted to highlight. My dad said sometimes you get a script that may say 2 pages of Phil. Sorry, 2 pages of Phil. Yeah, I was never lucky enough to work with Chris Claremont, so just guessing. But yeah, I mean, I could definitely see that, and I can only imagine as an artist like that kind of challenge,
right?
That you gotta go with. Lasso, said it took him three periods of time to read through this story once. Yeah, so we're definitely not alone here.
Did we miss Inja Binja? I want to say hi to Inja. Probably bounced. She probably hit hopefully bounced in.
Yes,
hit the like button.
Hello,
like all of you in the chat have been doing all night, and then bipped off to wherever she was going next. But
we appreciate you.
Shout out to Inja Binja.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, let's keep this going here. We got a couple pages left. Some fiery action as finally Emma Frost and
She's in the chat.
Right,
Look, she's still here. Inja.
Oh, there. Boom. See, there it is. There she is. What's up, Ninja? So yeah, we get the Emma Frost going at it with Kitty Pryde. Kitty wanting to get her revenge essentially for everything she's done in this story. As Emma tries to zap Kitty, and of course Lockheed jumps in the way, sacrificing himself. And again, looks like he died. Oh, I forgot to clarify. The last time when we first saw that other dragon, it happened to be that other dragon that she killed. Is what I had took this from. Yeah, I meant to say that earlier. So that's where,
because it's happening so quick, it's easy to get lost on this.
Oh, big time.
But then you slow down enough for I'm blasting your head. No, you're blasting my head. No, I'm blasting your head. No, you're blasting my head. Like we get 6 panels of who's attacking who here. Like we need 6 like that. That gets
like a Dragon Ball Z face up.
4 episodes in a row. Yeah,
I don't know that I needed all 4 of those in a row, but
yeah, right. Yeah, so they're kind of having this mental battle. Kitty gives it right back to her. Kind of describes that she handles it that way, but now wants to handle it the way she wants to. And it's a little bit of a darker way too, because now she basically six all the other dragons onto Emma Frost, and all you see in that one bottom panel is the dragons essentially killing her or eating her. It says the queen doesn't scream for very long. Kitty doesn't listen. I like how they had that little caption, and then she just walks off to figure out how they can figure things out, because as of right now, for the second time, she believes that he is that Lockheed is dead, laying there. So Ryan, anything to add here with some of these battle scenes and seeing how Emma Frost got destroyed?
Yeah, I mean, just picking up what John was saying, it feels like they're filling some space, trying to, we have a certain amount of pages, we got to get to the end here, and we got to fill up some space. So yeah, some unnecessary back and forth with the mind blasting, and then I have a thought on the whole Lockheed's gone down part, but I'll save that for another page.
Sure. Well, let's get it. Go ahead.
No,
John.
I want one thing on this page before we go on. Yeah. If you are at home, if you have this book out, if you're looking at it digitally, if you've got it next to you, that bottom middle Emma Frost after she's been knocked out, I don't want to kink shame anybody. She looks like she liked the pain. She looks way too happy about being put down. She has got a massive smile on her face, like, yeah, girl, wreck me, is basically what I'm getting from Emma in that panel where she's crumpled to the ground. That is a smile, folks. That is not a ouch, that hurt. Oh, she beat me and destroyed me. Oh, my villain. She is like, yeah, girl, get it, is what I took away from Emma's face. Please take a look. She's glad.
It's both of them too.
I don't want to
close up, and then the one with Kitty in it as well.
Some people are into that,
I don't want to kink shame Emma. We know she likes it a little kinky, and to Inja's point, we're here for it. Like, this is a supportive space. We're not going to judge Emma Frost in her kink, because she's clearly going after other people's men all the time. I'm just saying that's artist and writer knowing a character early. That's
the face of pleasure.
That's right, Tony.
It's facts, Tony.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
Of course,
I'm just saying it. The proof is there on the page.
Comments, the comments here are great.
I just want everybody to look at it. If you've got the book and the Omni, just take a second, get in there, pinch and zoom, just pinch and zoom.
So to wrap up the portion with Lockheed, it turns out that Kitty is holding her, crying, thinking that he's gone. Grieves with Peter as he's there to kind of check in. And then the tears kind of drop down, and he wakes up and he's alive. Turns out that he's not dead. Meanwhile, you have Aurora and the team show up on the other end. Rogue is happy that she's alive. So it's kind of like a win-win for everybody, kind of a happy ending as we get towards the later half of this. Now, of course, they talk a little bit about Lockheed saying, hey, I need to go because of my calling and what I need to do here. Kitty doesn't want to stand in the way of that. She understands, and she says, you got to do what you got to do. Of course, being that, he has to help replenish their species. And then turns out there's a little bit where Storm's like, having a little one-on-one with her, and then there's a surprise that turns out Lockheed did what he needed to do, and he's already back, and he's able to stick with the rest of the team and go on to all their adventures anyway. So it kind of worked out in the end, where Lockheed got laid and they still were able to move on. So all that being said, we do get towards the end here a little bit of Illyana closing out the story, some jokes with Wolverine telling Miss Hunter that she owes her $5, and a few extra things there. But I do have one more page after this. But any thoughts here on how this kind of wraps up with at least with Lockheed being able to do what he does and then still join? John, I'll throw it over to you.
No, I think it's a cute ending. I always like that, like, oh, the tears have magic powers. Very, Harry Potter used it. Lots of stories use it. It's kind of used in a cute manner here. And hey, shout out to Stevie Hunter hanging on strong, always coming back, always being a part of this crew, being a part of Kitty's life. Great teacher. Another great teacher.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to go into this last bit here, and then Ryan, I'll pass it over to you. Last page is just, again, being back in the real world, again, getting a little bit of a shift with the artwork and seeing really just a little bit of a focus on a couple things. One, Aurora having this last minute heart-to-heart with Kitty Pryde, saying that they're always going to be friends. They're always, going to be there for each other. But Aurora needs to step away from the team. And this is where we talked a little bit about how it's a little out of order based on what we read last issue. Yeah. That being part of the main series versus this being the annual, and this potentially being written before that. But so we get a little bit of that going, a little bit of goodbye between those two. And then, of course, Kitty actually gets to talk to Peter about, referencing, Peter's like, hey, so was that me in the story? The portion of you, Lockheed, and so on, is that supposed to be with me and Saji, who is the girl that he had fallen in love with. And they actually just talk it out. Like, this is the first time really that they actually just talk it out, like just calling it what it is and ending it with, I'm good being friends if you are, so I had Joey Tribbiani there talking about the friend zone. But yeah, this is ultimately, how the issue ends between the two. And then, of course, Illyana says, hey, it's your turn. You got to walk the dragon and accompany him while I put the fire out. And they all go to bed, essentially, is how this fairy tale story ends. So Ryan, I'm going to pass it to you. What are your thoughts here? Seeing this scene, I feel like, if anything, is finally like a relevant piece of story, obviously the rest being fairy tale, that we actually get out of this whole issue. At least we get this. What'd you think here on just how it closes out between Kitty Pryde and Colossus?
Yeah, I think these panels just do some housekeeping in the X-Men world, right? Like, it kind of gets Kitty and Colossus past the whole Zaji love triangle breakup thing. Now we can move on. We know that they're both, being mature about it, and they can just kind of nip it and keep being X-Men together. And then, of course, this story has helped get Storm out of her funk a little bit, maybe make her realize that she needs to maybe like go face a little bit more of what's of her new kind of reality, not having powers. Maybe she needs to leave the X-Men. So that also sets up where her journey is going to be going in the next issues, or maybe a couple issues that came before. I don't know when this exactly got released in the omnibus reading order. It's obvious we're reading this after the fact, but so yeah, just does some nice housekeeping stuff at the end, just setting up the X-Men to move forward. So I think it serves a good purpose in that way.
Yeah, well said. And yes, JP, it does say it in the book. Walk the dragon. You got to walk the dragon. John, any last words on how this ends before we get into like the big picture stuff? Just
sure.
What were your thoughts here, just on this Kitty Pryde issue, and also the Aurora thing? Just kind of closing that.
I got a couple thoughts. I mean, Ryan's spot on. I love the way Claremont is giving a punctuation mark to this story, this love story that's been young teenage romance, and it ended like young teenage romance ends usually, and I think that works really well. My other comment is, yikes, the artwork at the end here is super inconsistent. And you look at this panel down here of Colossus and Kitty, and it's just like people's heads don't seem in the right spot. Everything looks a little choppy.
Yeah.
Storm, I love the outfit. it just looks a little goofy. Her body shape, positioning, and things look a little goofy. And so for me, like it's hard to look at. It's difficult. I struggle.
Yeah.
I can enjoy expressionistic art. And Sienkiewicz is obviously a guy that we're going to get into next season. So be ready for New Mutants Volume 1 when we get into Bill Sienkiewicz, because I think he's got that very unusual style that it turns some people off, it turns me on in a big way. I love it. I think his stuff fits really well. And so this Storm closest to me, the one in the middle here, is a little awkward. The one at the top, the hair looks really cool. I love the mohawk look in that one. So it's just inconsistent for me. And yes, JP, I am a hypocrite. I happily admit to being a hypocrite for sure. But that still doesn't. The comment right above it, y'all nasty, and you need Jesus. You need Jesus. You need him. You need him in your life. Just go out, find you something.
And Justin, I will say on the previous page, another good GIF would have been Borat going, "Give me your tears."
Yeah. Oh, Borat. Love it. All right, guys. So we're wrapping this up here. I do want to get your general overall final thoughts and how you would grade this. So, John, I will pass it to you first. What any final thoughts here overall with how you thought of the issue, and how would you grade this on a CGC scale?
Firstly, I love your dad's comment. Yeah, Bill S is as talented. He's just. I think people that don't get him, I understand. Maybe not for them, but I am very excited to look into his early New Mutant stuff.
New Mutants, absolutely.
I can understand what they were trying to do here. It just doesn't work for me, this book. I loved going through it with you guys, and Ryan absolutely pointed out some things to me that I hadn't considered, and I think that's why I love this show. It definitely improved my score of this book, but I don't think I can go above a 6 on this book. I just really don't. I mean, it feels like a 5. I'm going to stick with my 5, which is where I was at with this book. A 5 out of 10 is where I'm going to go.
That's fair. I think that's very fair. I actually, when you said 6, I actually was a little surprised. I'm feeling love for Ryan tonight. Maybe that's what it is. I gave it a point for Ryan. I'll tell you, it definitely, like, after talking it out, to me at least, I always feel like I'm like readjusting based on just the fun conversation we have, even if it's bashing the book or whatever. So it is hard to
add it. The chat brings all this great information. Your dad and everybody in the chat's bringing their perspectives too, and I appreciate it. But for me,
100%.
5 is where I came out when I reread it, and I'm feeling that strongly.
Love it. What about you, Ryan? Final thoughts here, and how would you grade this issue on a CGC scale?
Yeah, I mean, I'll echo what John's saying. The discussion brought it up for me, but it was really low before. So honestly, like, I'm giving it like a 3, and I'm being generous. Like,
that's fair. Yeah.
I honestly, I just didn't enjoy it, and
Chet did 2.5, so you're above Chet at this point.
There's,
like I said, I would be generous.
Yeah.
The art's just not for me. I don't love the story. I don't generally, to be honest, like these fairy tale, like not real history, like shoot off issues. I want like stakes, and this doesn't have stakes. You know,
the continuity stuff.
I want storyline, as opposed to like, let's have a fun little like non-important thing over here and I mean, sometimes that's fun, and it can break you out of things. But this one just doesn't do it for me.
And Ryan Magic Lasso, I think that's what ultimately that's what I got from Justin's post this morning on Instagram.
Oh yeah, and that's really same thing. Like, I think that I've grown appreciation for the break, like chopped up, or what I'm trying to say. Grown appreciation for breaking up heavy stories with an in-between little lighthearted, fairy tale. Again, mainly because in any story you need to have ups and downs. You can't just have constant, highs that are going all the time. So I definitely respect it from that aspect. The other thing for me, again, I'm not a fan of the artwork overall, but I do like the artists, and that's what was like kind of tearing me on both sides of things. And I will recommend anybody to go look at other stuff that Leialoha has done, even before the 1984. Like I'm pretty sure he was pretty established and was doing some really good work for Marvel. Maybe even DC. I don't know if he did anything for DC, but regardless, this artwork was not for me. The stuff that was in here, I'm very much with you guys on this is not really a high grade for me. I can't adjust it. I think I'm being very fair too with giving it a 5. It easily could be a 4-ish. I do like some of this connecting stuff at the end of the real life stuff. Ryan, as you mentioned, like generally we like, we look more for things that are relevant to the characters building their stories. And I think this, at least little ending, gives a tiny bit, like very tiny, just a little goodbye from Aurora, and then seeing Peter and Kitty actually talk about it, that we didn't see that at all before this. There was always awkward, or they changed the subject, or things got distracted or whatever. So for them to actually just call it what it is and say friends, like, cool, now we can move on. I kind of like that we got that part out of this book. And for that, like, it's always going to be a reason I'll want to have this book in my collection. I am glad too that it was an annual, so that you didn't have to read it if you don't want to. You could just keep going with the main series and just carry on and not miss out on too much. So I like that they did that, as opposed to the 153 where they actually made it part of the series, which was different, and again, that one grew on me a little more. So, but still, I like that they made it separate. If that's what it is now, annuals at this time kind of being thrown to the wind, then I guess so be it. So, but yeah, so well said all around. I wanted to highlight a couple other things in the chat here. Let's see. I saw another grade. Oh, Bobby, my man, giving it a 9.2 with White Queen pages. He enjoyed it. I saw him. He said he enjoyed it. Said it wasn't his favorite, but he had a good time with it. So love that you were able to take that in. Let's see.
And here's what I love about Bobby is he loves things unabashedly and has so much joy for these comics and these art forms. And so huge 100%. Thank you for that, man.
100%. Yeah. And at the end of the day, I know it's our characters, right? We love, it's X-Men. We're certainly going to take this over some of the other stuff that's out there. So it's just, that's what I agree. And I like that he stands his ground on that stuff. Let's see. He says, made me laugh, made me cry, had Nightcrawler and a fancy hat. Those are all really strong points. Let's see. Candace says, concept had potential. It just wasn't executed that well. Very well said. Don't argue there at all. Let's see. Roy Kirk says, I've been picking up the Epic collections. The volume will be hard. Oh, he's just talking about the heart of those Epic collections. I have seen some of those before.
Sure.
Anything else here?
Candace was saying she's going to check out the other issue that you posted today, and I do think you'll enjoy that a bunch, Candace. I tried to post that, but it looks like something happened. It didn't go through, but I do think you would enjoy it a ton. I do think it's a superior issue, but it is fun that they tried to, yin yang that story where
between the two storytellers.
You get Kitty telling a bedtime story to little Ileana, and now Ileana is the slightly older kid, and she's telling a story to Kitty to try to help her through something. I think I like, again, to that same point, great idea, execution a little off, maybe.
Yeah, I agree.
Or a lot off. I guess a lot off. Maybe a little is being nice. A lot.
This just kind of feels like one of those things where, like, Chris Claremont's writing X-Men. He's writing New Mutants.
Yeah.
And whatever else he's got on is,
and now he's got to do this.
Now we got to do an annual line. Still doing all those other things.
Sure.
Let's just do a simple thing that I don't have to think about too much, like in terms of stakes and planning into the story, and you kind of end up with something like this, right?
Great point.
Cool. Well, that's that. I'll close. Sorry, we'll go to the.
Let's get to the numbers really fast. There's nothing here. There's nothing here.
Key element. First time Storm scares the New Mutants using firewood. I wanted to make sure
that better be on the box. I want that. Or the first time Emma Frost admits her kink. I totally admit all of it. Like, let's put that on. Let's put that on the CGC label right there.
And Lockheed's a pimp.
And Lockheed, Lockheed spreads his seed across the galaxy.
Quite literally. There were no 10-0s, no 9-9s. The 9.8s fair market value for Go Collect.
Yeah, nobody cares. Come on, let's move on.
I'm surprised.
$75 for a 9.8. Who's buying this? Get out of here.
Hey, there's 93 out there. There's 93.
Move on. Get out of here.
Hey, you know what? People that aren't reading it, that's for sure, are doing that. But anyways, yeah. So that's that. Let me turn this off here. I know we went a little long here, but it's thicker annual.
Lots to get into.
All right, we have some questions, so don't go away yet, folks. If you're watching right now, we appreciate it. We do have our 4 questions that we have over the night. Remember, if you don't know, we are looking for 2 correct answers. So if you see someone else write the correct answer and there's only one time, feel free to copy and paste, write that same answer. We're just looking for the first 2 people to say it correctly. You each will get your name on the prize wheel that will go towards the end of the season in June. And then, of course, if you don't know the correct answer, we are still looking for a funny answer or an incorrect answer. So feel free to put that and see which one Ryan chooses that he thinks is the funniest or most awkward.
There it is.
So you got to know your audience there.
Yeah,
JP, I don't want to hear, man. Come on, like you go watch last 2 episodes ago. I'm saying,
come on. Next week, I'm gonna crush that record. I'm just telling you right now. I got like 35 slides. We're gonna spend all night. Get ready. Bearded Comic Bro is gonna be exhausted for work on next Wednesday.
Ryan, make me laugh. I love it. All right, John. Let's. I'll send it to you first. So
So right at the beginning of the issue, James Proudstar attacks Banshee. But I implied something with my GIF game last week. Oh, am I frozen or is Justin frozen? Am I okay? I'm okay. All right.
Good.
Still good. My comment is, what did I imply that?
Oh man,
we lost him
right as he's about to say it.
Dang it.
Oh, he was so good.
John's doing the hand thing. John's doing the Wolverine hand thing right now. That's gonna be a screenshot.
Oh boy.
Let me pull up his question here. He's like, sorry, John, you're frozen up here. We can't even hear you. There he is. We see you shaking your head now. Go ahead.
Got you back.
I'm in major pain. Like these girls, I had like 5 minutes left. Come on, give me 5 minutes.
Go ahead.
What did he do? I've already got the correct answer twice in the chat, but what did I say that James had done to Sean? And it's already there twice. I got Jackson, Roy Kirk, and Old Wolf correct answers.
There you go. Teabagging.
Yikes. Right. Yes, I implied the teabag. I am just as a hypocrite as anybody else.
Wait, sorry, that was Roy Kirk and Thony, right?
Roy Kirk and Thony.
Cool.
JP a little too slow, and he said it twice. He got it in there twice.
Adding the ing.
Right. What are the comedy answers?
Let's see. Chad, he didn't imply he'd be frozen 1 week later. Little jab on John being frozen.
We don't need the question. We already know the answer.
We don't need. Yeah.
Our internet working. Yep.
He stood over him, taunting.
That's fair.
Tell the girls to get off.
Seriously, it's finals week. They're teenagers. They got a lot to do and a lot to distract. Yep.
Make fun of his Irish accent.
Yeah.
JP says, John Nasty, he needs Jesus.
This is true. That's the real truth we learned right here.
Give him the old peace pipe.
There you go.
Said he needed to shower with the Irish Springs.
There you go.
You implied you hadn't read this issue and were just gonna wing it.
That's what I do most weeks. That's how
he screamed in his ear and said, "How do you like it?"
There it is.
Some AOL jokes.
Bring the discs over, Adam. Yeah, I need that AOL internet. I need to hook up, upgrade. Justin, don't want to jinx it. Knocking on wood. He's been crushing it tonight. My internet.
That's right. Flawed. Yeah. The funny thing though is every time yours does skip, I immediately think it's me. I'm like, oh, there goes my. Oh, never mind.
I just look at Ryan, and I want to see is he moving? Right. Is he blinking? Is his background? Do I see Wolverine?
I don't know what kind of internet we've got up here, but like, I have pretty great internet. Like, I don't think I've ever lagged out on a stream.
You're impressed. Very impressed.
Knock on
All
wood,
right.
because now it's gonna happen. You know.
Yeah, we've all jinxed everybody now.
Yeah.
Dad and his little comic show,
Yeah.
fair. That's fair. All right. Any winners on the
Let's go with
comedy side there for
Magic-
you, Ryan?
Let's go with Magic Lasso and Irish Springs.
There you go. Boom.
There it is. That gives Ryan an even 20 raffle ticket entries. 20.
All right.
2-0.
Very nice. Very nice. All right. Let me get into my first question. Oh, just lost my thought here. Okay. Technically, this is week 22, believe it or not.
I know.
All right. What was the team doing in the danger room last issue? There was something specific that I'm looking for as far as answers go. What was it that the team was doing? You had Cannon was there, like you had some new mutants in there, along with some of the OG mutants kind of mixed together. But specifically, what was it that they were doing in the training room? This is a layup. It's a layup for some people.
Yep.
It's good opportunities. Okay, I do see the correct answer right off the bat.
I mean, Candace, you're not wrong.
So, Tony saying play tag. That is correct. I was looking for that. JP also says tag. Yes, that is what I was looking for. JP then says teabagging. Very, very close. Yeah, you're not wrong, Candace. But that's not what I was looking for. Something dangerous. Oh, my dad saying reading Flash comics. I like it. He knows a thing or two about that. Let's see. Bobby saying they were watching the NBA playoffs on the big screen. I mean, I could see that. Be a good place to watch some sports there. Ryan says calling other heroes regarding their car's extended warranty. I mean, that's important. It's important. And then Tony following up with JP. They were teabagging. Little behind there, Tony, on that one. Hosting a heavy metal concert. I like it, Conlon. I like it. That'd be cool. Seeing a concert in the danger room. Filming TikTok dances. I mean, I think some of the team would be doing that for sure. JP saying making Wolverine sandwiches. I like it. Can't go wrong there with that answer. Trying to score Diana Ross tickets. Roy Kirk says. Ryan, any of these have you laughing here?
I gotta go with Candace. Something dangerous.
Nice. There it is. This is true. All right, Candace on the board. John, what is your second question?
Hopefully I get through this one before I crash again, because it's been pretty consistent here at the end. Let's see. What was surprising to Xavier when he woke up with the Morlocks in their lair? What was shocking to him? And probably to the readers as well. Some surprising things. Let's see. He woke up from being unconscious in the Morlock lair and was a bit stunned.
Wait, where's the separation here? I don't know if some of these are still from the last.
I think the first one would be JP with his outfit.
Oh no.
You see that? I don't know where you're at. A little more down. There it is, right there. That's the first one. And then it's funny, Old Wolf, but not accurate. I think
right.
The first correct answer I saw after JP's, gosh, because Conlon wear my pants funny, but he has pants on, black leather ones, in fact. I'm going to go with Candace that he looked good in leather. I think it's probably that's a fair response, Candace.
Yeah. So JP and Candace have
JP and Candace has correct answers. It would have been Magic Lasso next. He was the next in line.
Okay. Callie says they're hideous faces. Let's see. I see. Yep. Lasso, Tony. You guys are just a little behind here. Colossus saved the day, and thanks to him, mutants and mankind learned to live together. He became the greatest hero from our universe. He is really playing to the
playing to our guest.
Bobby,
beautiful way.
He said, yes.
Impressive.
He had fathered a new race of Morlocks. Sorry, I misread that. He had Lilandra hair. Ryan Magic Lasso says. John almost doing a spit take there. His Callisto cosplay outfit. Adam makes stuff up, says. Morlocks knew about his kinks. Yeah, I mean, there you go, JP. He woke up as the lead singer of Judas Priest, Chet says. I know he's a metalhead.
I said Village People, but I'm willing to say that is about as close to my answer as anybody got. He woke up looking like one of the Village People.
Yeah. He was yelling, thank you, sir. May I have another?
Nice Kevin Bacon Animal House joke there, JP.
Lucas in the chat. Hello, Lucas. Do you want to hear a dumb fury? No. Lucas, we're looking for funny, incorrect answers for the questions we have here.
All right. Ryan, did you have a fave among those?
I gotta give it to Bobby.
There it is.
Put in the effort. He wrote a lot of
that was like a paragraph. Look at it.
It worked. Holy cow.
He hasn't written that much since college.
Telling the truth there, you know.
You got to respect the guy telling the truth. Yeah, exactly. Well done. All right. Next
last question.
This is great. What did Rogue and Colossus do to take out the Sec bots? Last issue, there were those villainous Sec bots last issue, and there was a swarm of them attacking. And there was something that Rogue and Colossus did together to take them out. What was it that Rogue and Colossus specifically did? There is something specific answer there that I'm looking for. Yeah. For those who know it, read it.
This is a great question, by the way. You got to have read the issue or followed along to really do that one.
Yeah. Interpretive dancing. Magic Lasso says yes. Tony says the fastball throw. I can't give it to you, Tony, but that's a really good funny one if that's what you're going for.
Yeah.
The correct answer, the fastball special. JP, thank you very much. Along with Callie Comics.
He's got a space between fast and ball.
It's all right. He's not Chet. It's fine.
It's not Chet. Yeah, we'll give it to Callie.
Good to go. Roy Kirk says the Macarena. They did the Macarena to defeat. Oh. Oh, good, Dr. Evil. Let's see. I see a lot more fastball specials coming in. She did. She threw Colossus, Bobby.
Yep.
They were the sex bots out by fulfilling the bot's purpose. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of
wore them out. They wore them out.
Yeah.
Yep.
The old rope-a-dope. That's right. Let's see. Colossus grabbed Rogue's ankles. Use her like a baseball bat.
That would have been awkward. Got really awkward there.
That would have been a move too.
Sounds hurt.
Tony, I understand.
You're more understanding than Chet ever is.
Lucas here for the Luffy chat. That
he clearly is following all of your enjoyment of One Piece.
We appreciate you. Oldo says teabag. Yeah, I mean, throw that answer out there.
That answer works on almost every question, like the sandwich with Logan thing.
Absolutely. She did the sidearm Mahomes special. I like that, Bobby. It's a good answer. Let's see. Rogue saying, "Touch me in the morning."
Touch me in the morning.
Get it, John? There you go.
Then just walk away.
The Chet said split finger road ball. There you go. Type of pitch there.
That happened at 1 minute 58 seconds, 1 hour 58 minutes and 30 seconds. So you can clip that later. Come back later. Yeah. John sings "Touch Me in the Morning" by Diana Ross.
Threaten to tell their moms. That's right. Voice of an angel. There you go. Ryan, anything here that strikes your fancy as the funniest or best incorrect answer?
I gotta go with Magic Lasso's first answer of interpretive dance.
Ah, yes, very nice.
There it is.
There it is. Look at that, gang. We did it right under the 2 hour mark, at least compared to when we went live.
50 seconds to finish.
Yeah. We're gonna wrap this up.
It's bang on now.
Here's where I'll freeze too. First of all, big thanks to you, Ryan, for coming out, being part of the show. We really appreciate it. I've been looking forward to having you as a guest. We appreciate you having us on your channel. And again, just loving everything that you're doing for the channel, for the community, for the mutants, all that. So love what you're doing, and thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me, guys. I really had a great time. So anytime.
Awesome. Yeah, we'll definitely take you up on it again. We'll be ready for the next season coming up. We'll be doing some New Mutants. So even though your boy won't necessarily be part of it, we certainly would love to have you back. So, could be.
His sister's on the team, right?
So, all right, yeah, that's true. You're gonna have to go do some digging. See what issue you want.
There's a good Inferno cover of New Mutants with the Colossus. So.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. There you go. Well, very cool. For anyone who's not connected or following Ryan, make sure you do so. I put his information in the description below. I also put John's information in the description below as well. So make sure you are subbed up and following him, because we will be back over on his channel next Tuesday at 9:00 Eastern with our good friend Greg, Bearded Comic Bro, the X-Men Pro, and we'll be breaking down some more. Was it the
X-Men Alpha Flight ish 1 and 2? Paul Smith on the artwork again. And we'll see if my internet is better than tonight.
Yeah.
Canada's own team.
That's right. So yeah, and of course, shout out to our featured guest Tony Silas, as we're getting ready to feature to give away his commission piece to the winner in a few weeks. So if you missed out this time around, maybe you'll be able to get a correct answer next week on John's channel. So tune in for that. As always, make sure you're checking out.
I have anything to do with it.
That's right. Ryan's gonna be all over. He's part of this episode, so Ryan, you should know all the.
He'll know all the answers.
I'm losing points this week, guys.
Yeah, that's right. All right, gang. We will wrap it up. So until next time, we will talk to you later.